finally I got you here. Like it's
Our
it's very
our schedules are
it's
tough,
very
man.
hard to get you at this time of the year.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm off to on Thursday
nice,
for
nice.
futsal camp
For the
too. So
futsal, is it a
it's
camp or
camp. Yeah, our final
awesome?
camp before the World Cup. So
Yeah.
it's
What time is the workout gonna start exactly?
November. The games start November 21st, I believe, to December 7th. I think our first game, I think, is November 23rd. I
Oh wow,
think I can't
wow.
remember exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be
So first game, is it Colombia or
Colombia.
Colombia? Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Colombia, Spain, and
Spain
Thailand.
and Thailand. Yeah.
It's the group of death. We have
Yeah,
number
absolutely.
2, number 4, number 8 in the world,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
and we're 72 or 74, I think.
That's
Crazy.
it's a good experience for you, definitely. Like for the
Yeah.
entire group, not just
Mhm.
yourself, but for the entire group to just go to that scene and see
Just to
how
be
is
there in
how
the
is that
first
level.
one, top 16
Yeah,
countries in the world.
yeah,
It's unexpected
yeah,
because of
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's a new project,
No, it's
but it was fully deserved by the players
no,
and
it's
the
good.
staff. So
That's very good. Same,
we're
same,
excited.
same feeling for how the men's had in the World Cup in Qatar
Yeah,
22.
yeah,
So good.
yeah.
Be in that scene, okay? Like
Totally. You have
be
to
in
learn,
it. Yeah, absolutely.
and then you can be better the next time, and the next time, and the next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I like the trophy.
yeah,
Wow, wow,
It's,
wow, wow. CONCACAF.
yeah,
That's amazing. That is.
yeah.
That is amazing.
It's an amazing reminder of
How was the feeling
the
putting that
journey.
trophy around your neck on that day?
I can't express it. It was. I mean, going in, it was definitely not an expectation.
Yes.
There was 9 teams, and I think we were ranked 7 out of 9. And we had
Yes.
Costa Rica and the U.S. in our group, which were the top 2
That's
teams.
perfect. We'll talk in more details.
Yeah.
Don't burn it.
Don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't. I will not divulge.
Good morning, everyone. Good day. Beyond the Pitch podcast is here, episode 8. And I got a special guest with me here today, an amazing guest that I'm waiting for a while to get here. Today, we're gonna unpack the Huskies women program, football, soccer program. We're gonna unpack the futsal. We're gonna talk about youth development, and we're gonna talk a lot about football. So fasten your belt. Today, with me here, Jerson Barandika Hamilton, the Saskatchewan Huskies women head coach. Jerson, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Mo, for having me. Super excited to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about my journey, the program's journey, the national futsal team journey. And yeah, I think I've watched every episode that you've had and learned a lot. So I'm happy to be here and to share and just to talk and see what we can converse in the next hour or so.
Awesome. Finally, I got you at the podcast, Jerson.
No, we're busy. You're busy. I'm busy. It's
While,
hectic, but
and by the way, just before we start the conversation, I have a lot of agreement with you. Maybe we have some disagreement as well, which is normal. But
Totally.
I just want you to know that I admire you a lot as
Thank
a
you.
human being, as a coach. And I respect your knowledge a lot, and I think you are one of the very, very few resources that we have in Saskatchewan. And this is my opinion. I think everybody really should see how they can learn from your knowledge and also your experience. And this is for any coach at any level. Jerson is really a good resource to have here in our province, and we are very lucky and proud to have you here in this province, Jerson, with us. So today's episode is brought to you by Pinter and Associate Limited, a Saskatchewan-based engineering and environmental consulting firm. Pinter deliver environmental site assessment and remediation, water and wastewater infrastructure design, land development, geotechnical services, from building foundation design to slope stability, and waste management engineering. Learn more at pinter.ca. When you think engineering, think Pinter. Jerson, uh, good career as a player, good career as a coach. I think you were named the Canada West MVP in 2011, correct?
I think so, yeah.
And also, you won the Huskies Athletic Rookie of the Year award in 2007, and also the Huskies Athletics Male Athlete of the Year award in 2011. You named as Canada West Coach of the Year 2015, 2016. Did I miss anything that you want to add to this wonderful achievements?
No, I think I mean you're kind of aging me a little bit in terms of how old I am, and no, it's I think I've been fortunate, very fortunate. My dad played at a high level soccer back in Mexico, where I'm from, and so I've been around the game a lot. It started as a kid with him going to watch his games and playing at halftime and using the 15 minutes of halftime to score goals, and sport and soccer, futsal have been part of my life my entire journey. And so I've been really lucky to be able to learn, develop, play with some amazing people as when I was a player, and now coach some amazing people. And I think for me, going to work is not work. It's my passion. I'm lucky that I can do it every day. And there's some tough days for sure, and there's some good days, and there's some long days. But you have to embrace everything. Like if you don't have the bad, then you don't have the perspective of good either. So I think when you mention this, and it gives me a little bit of a reminder, and I look back into my journey in Mexico and in Canada, it's a lot of happy moments, a lot of grateful moments, and hopefully many more to come. Many more to come.
Absolutely. How was that transition, Jerson, from the player to the coach? Did you feel that transition? Because I myself felt it.
Mm-hmm.
I lived it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to also know your experience, because you're also coaching at a good level into game here, especially at the youth sport, which is a good level for the women football here in Canada in general. But
Yeah.
How did you feel the transition? How was that transition for you from a player to a coach?
Yeah, I'll have to think, because this was I've been a head coach. So when I first finished my journey playing with the Huskies for 5 years, I did my degree in engineering as well at the university. I did a little bit of consulting work as a part-time engineer, but I knew that engineering as a full-time profession for me probably wasn't going to be what I wanted to do. I knew in year 3, year 4. I think I did it. It taught me a lot of great skill sets, but it wasn't fully my passion, and I wanted to try and follow my passion, but it's really difficult in Canada. There's not many full-time paid positions to work in the game, and you have to grind, and you have to bet on yourself, and then you just gotta hope that the work you do will eventually lead to a full-time position. So when I graduated playing, I was an assistant coach with the men for 2 years. So with Bryce Chapman, Stuart Gillot, and the transition as an assistant coach wasn't that bad. To be honest, as a player, I want to say I kind of was a coach as a player. I was never the fastest. I was never the tallest. I was never the biggest. I was never the strongest. That was just
that's how it started.
My genetics, you know. So yeah. I had to be very curious. I had to be very good at reading the game. I had to be very good at studying the game and understanding the game. That's the only way I could have success as an attacking player. I was an attacking midfielder, a striker, and so for me, intuitively, because there's no coach that taught me, I learned to study the game. I learned to perceive and read situations. And so the success that I had as a player, I think really came down to being creative, playing a lot, and just exploring and learning and making mistakes, but also timing, working on my timing. I was an attacking mid, I was a striker. Like I said, I was not big, I was not fast, but I think I learned that I was really lucky to play with a phenomenal player, Josh Norley, and he was so good as a winger at taking players on that I really learned how to read defenders. I learned how to work on timing and read my teammates, and I scored a lot of goals because of just arriving in the right space at the right time.
I played against you when I got here.
Yeah.
In an adult tournament here.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
I don't know. That's news to me, Mo.
Yeah, you were lucky. You got me on my last days.
You're on the. Yeah, I was.
I was on my retiring days.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome. That's
so as a
awesome.
player, I think I wasn't a coach. I was vocal because I was passionate about the game, but I learned to break down the game for me to have success.
Yeah.
So when I became an assistant coach with the men, for me, my role was just to try to instill some of the lessons that I had learned as a player. So it was really not scientific, no very critical, to be like give players ideas of what I would do because I was young. The hardest part, I would say, is changing my role from a player to being an assistant coach and how the players viewed me. But I think I was fortunate enough that I had the respect of the players because of the performances as a player.
So that coaching was within you.
I think
As
so.
a player,
I don't
yeah,
think I would say
absolutely.
I knew it at the time, but I think it was there. And when I became an assistant coach, just learning a lot of other things that you don't have to think about as a player.
Absolutely.
How to deliver messages, the timing,
Absolutely.
what words you use to communicate, and confidence, and when to be hard and not. So that's the difficult part of coaching, is a lot of things that players don't realize until they get into coaching.
And how is the transition from assistant coach to a head coach?
Yeah, so my first year, I was a co-head coach with Nin, who was she played down in the States, NCAA Div 1, and she's an amazing woman, and she's a lawyer in the city. So that was a different role, because it wasn't like we could do everything my way or her way.
Yes.
We had to be in agreement. Fortunately, we were two really connected and very on the same page on pretty much everything, so it made it really, really easy.
Yeah.
But we were both young in terms of coaching experiences.
Yes.
And Bryce at the time, I think, was overseeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good in that we were aligned in our values and how we wanted to coach the team, and we pretty much learned by mistakes, one day at a time. And as I've grown, the second year, she had a young family. I mean, a lawyer. I don't even know how she was able to do it for 1 year.
Yeah.
I became the head coach by myself, and I did that for 2 years plus the co-head coach. So 3 years part-time. So very minimal pay, but for me, it was my full-time opportunity to coach at this level. And at the time, I believe I was the youngest head coach in youth sports. I think I was 24 when I started coaching. 25, 26 when I started coaching. It's very, very unique.
Do you remember the first time I saw you? You won't probably won't know.
I don't.
Okay,
You'd have to enlighten me.
I'll tell you the story. When I came to start to coach with ASTRA, I was at the soccer center. You were running a session for the Whitecaps. Okay, at that time for the boys, and just said I finished my sessions, or I think before my session started. Anyways, I had time.
Yeah.
I went up top and I watched your entire sessions, and I just loved the energy, the intensity, the passion, everything. Your session was amazing. I didn't know who you are at the time. I just said, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah.
That's the first time when I saw you as a coach,
Okay.
and then I haven't seen you again for a while. Until the Huskies days, but definitely what I admire about you, I think you mentioned the transition from a player to assistant, from assistant to also co-head coach to a head coach. But what I really admire a lot, Jerson, how the level you took that program to, which we'll talk in details about. Amazing. Watch your games, watch your training sessions. I played against you, and I always enjoyed the culture you're creating in that program. But also, what I admire a lot, I think you evolve your knowledge a lot as a head coach, and you can see the evolution of the ideas, of the systems, of the playing styles within your program. Year after year, it looks really, there is stability, but also there is evolving process within that program. So tell us about the Huskies program right now. Everything you want to share about that program, how you've been in that head coach spot, and the process
Mm-hmm.
up to this moment.
Yeah, I mean it's been my life for 12 years, so I'll try to find a way to like describe what we've built. So as I said, I started my career as an assistant coach with the men's for 2 years. I was then the co-head coach with the women. The opportunity came up. Really, I wasn't seeking it, but I as a young coach, I would do a lot of individual training with players. And they put my name forward to the athletic director at the time to reach out. And so he called me one day asking if I'd like to have an opportunity to be a co-head coach. And initially I said no because I didn't feel I was ready or prepared. But then I thought about it more and I was like, you know what, like you're never going to be ready if you always keep waiting.
Was that humble from you, or was that you felt you're not prepared enough, or was that because I myself like that, if I feel I'm not doing something 100%, I will not do it. So
No, I think it was just I was still trying to learn who I was as a coach, young coach, and I didn't want to. The program, the men's program, was so influential for me, and I held it in high regard. And then same with the women's, I didn't want to let the program down. So, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have to bet on yourself too, and even if you're not ready, it's the opportunities. What I've learned is they're never going to be perfect timing. There's never going to be a perfect timing. You have to make it a perfect timing with your choices. And so I'm so fortunate that I had the trust to be given that opportunity at a young age. And then I've worked so hard to deliver on the expectations and what we want to make the program. And I don't think I'm perfect, but I know how hard I work and how intentional I am behind the scenes, that I think everything that we've been able to accomplish is because of surrounding myself with amazing people.
And I can back you on that, the hard work, because I've saw it with my eyes. I can back you on that. You're a very hard working coach. I have to give you that.
Thank you. And so, yeah, so I started, like I said, as a part-time co-coach, not really getting doing it for the money, because the money was not, but I was young. I did have family, big responsibilities, so I could take that opportunity, and I did it for the in hopes that one day this would become a full-time position, and I would have the experience to be the right candidate. So my first 3 years, so 2014, 2015, 2016, I was part-time. First year was a co-head coach. Then 2015, 2016, I was the head coach on my own. And those 3 years were the most successful years up to date. And that at that time of what the program had done. 2014, we won our first playoff game. We won our first bronze medal game. 2015, we finished top in our division, so we were division champions, and we hosted the final six. We ended up losing in the final against Trinity, 1-0 at home, and then against Calgary, 1-0. So even though we hosted the final six, we didn't medal. And then the next year in 2016, we won bronze medal. We made Final Four for the third year in a row, which you got to understand, before I had become the head coach, they had made playoffs the first time with Tom LaPointe, but they lost in the first round. So we had gone from making playoffs to winning our first playoff game to making Final Four to then medaling to then being division champs in 3 years. It was an amazing progress that we had. And so we made nationals for our first time ever in 2016 at Acadia. And the funny story there is we were going to Final Four in Langley, and we know it was actually a Final Six at the time, not Final Four, Final Six. And we knew that we were in the first round. We had to win to keep playing. So we played against Victoria. And going into the Final Six, we had told our players, hey, look, if somehow we finish top three, we qualify for nationals, we're not coming back to Saskatoon. We're going to fly from Langley all the way to Acadia, across the country, because there was no point leaving on a Sunday from BC to come to Saskatoon to then leave on the Monday.
Was that a way of motivation, or was it belief, or both?
No, we just told the players be ready, pack for potentially 2.5 weeks to be. And I think we took 19, 20 players, and I think one player packed for 2 weeks. So that just shows where the mindset of the team was.
Yes.
Not having that belief to be able to accomplish amazing things in Saskatchewan. And what I've learned is I didn't grow up in Saskatchewan. I grew up in Mexico. My mom's Canadian. She's from Lloydminster. My dad's, and I lived my entire life on a small island in Mexico, Isla Mujeres, in front of Cancun. And I was fortunate enough, I played a high level. I played professional, 3rd division, 2nd division. And then I kind of hit the top of where pro level was in Cancun at the time. So I had a choice to make. I could either try and continue to progress professionally in Mexico, or go to university. And I wanted to explore my Canadian roots because I have dual nationality, dual citizenship through my mom, and I'd never really lived in Canada other than a few months in grade 10. We came and visited my grandparents and lived for a year at a high school in Lloydminster. So I decided I wanted to come to university. So when I came to Saskatchewan, the thing that always bothered me a little bit when I was a player or a young coach was we would never expect to win. We always celebrated finishing 4th or 5th or 6th because at the time that was the best. And for me, it never resonated. I never felt like that was something that should have been celebrated.
Was possible and we did not try to achieve it, or was impossible? Like what did you notice? Like, was it something that we did not believe in it, or we tried, it couldn't happen?
No, I don't think anything is impossible. I've had so many opportunities in my life that have taught me that nothing is impossible.
Absolutely.
Like, nothing is impossible. It
Yes.
doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what opportunities you have. And we'll get into it. Some of the recent opportunities I've had over the last 2.5 years have really shown me that nothing is impossible. It has to start with mindset. And I think our mindset wasn't where we could believe and then do the work to achieve success. So that always kind of was interesting to me, why we would celebrate as youth or nationals finishing 4th or 5th. And I understand it's not easy. Like, you're competing against Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, BC, other provinces that have way more players and way more initial conditions to be successful.
Yes.
But
100%.
the first year I think that a team medaled was 2012. I believe U18 Eastside girls won nationals. And so that was really cool because I was already here. That was my last year as a player, that things started to slowly change.
Yeah.
2011, Husa, we won gold medal too, which was a lot of the Husky alumni. They won the first gold medal for Saskatchewan at club nationals. And so I think that started to like slowly change perception and slowly change how you approach things and what you celebrate. So anyhow, making nationals, going back to Huskies, 2016, we made nationals for the first time ever in Acadia. But again, going back to that funny story, out of 19, 20 players, I think one actually packed for believing that we were going to get to nationals. Yeah. So we go off to Langley, and we had to play Victoria in the first play-in game, and we beat them 1-0. Unheard of. Like, typically we would not even compete. Like, we would celebrate maybe even tying or not losing by a lot. So we beat them 1-0. Then this is in Trinity hosted. Then we get to play Trinity at home. And if you've ever been to Trinity, maybe you've been with the men. It's a massive field, tough setting. They're really good at home. But we played a heck of a game, and we ended up losing 1-0. But our team was so good that day, and it just wasn't meant to be. But we had another chance. We played Grant McEwen in the bronze medal, and we knew that if we won that game, we would go to nationals. We ended up winning that game.
And who was the dominant school at that time?
UBC? The same teams that have been UBC and Trinity Western were top. Victoria, Alberta, and then I would say us and McEwen were the up-and-coming programs. Calgary, they didn't make the final 6, but they're in a great program. Yes. So we beat McEwen 1-0, and we qualify for nationals. And all my players were stressing because they didn't pack enough clothes. They didn't believe it was going to be possible. So we went coast to coast. We went from Saskatoon to Langley to Halifax, Acadia. It was the first time ever. And it was such an amazing moment for the program. We got the tough matchup, quarterfinals. We played Laval. And that for me was such a big learning moment. Even now I go back to it, They were so good. The advantage of a lot of the Quebec schools is they have CEGEP programs. They can play kind of like college here, like ACAC or MCAC, but it doesn't count towards eligibility until their third year. So a lot of the Quebec schools have very mature rosters. They have rosters that have players. Our oldest player was younger than their youngest player.
So probably they will spend a year or two in the college league.
Yeah,
then,
for sure.
Yeah.
So they were so mature, so
big
good.
Difference, big
difference. So that's who we got matched up to play in the quarterfinals. And I remember looking at their warm-up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this team is at a whole different level than what we were, but they were at a whole another level. And we kept it as close as we could in the first half. I think it was 0-0, and we had maybe a chance that we missed into like the 42nd minute. They scored 1-0. It was 1-0 at half, and we were playing okay, but I felt we were playing scared. Like we weren't believing in our ability to just play. I told the team, I don't care if we lose, but I want us to just play with confidence. And that was my first lesson. The way I went about it, or the tone and the conversation, maybe didn't get the best out of our team. I think it affected them more, and Laval was great, and they ended up winning 5-0.
Was that experience affected your approach to coaching after that?
No, I think you have to be who you are. You have to be authentic with who you are.
Yeah.
You cannot be a fake, but you have to learn, and you have to be open to learning. And you just got to take, okay, what did this message deliver? How did it help or not help the team? And what can I learn from it for a next opportunity? Absolutely. So I learned that my message at half to instill the confidence into the team maybe didn't hit the way I wanted. But I also learned, watching Laval, it was amazing. The head coach at the time, who unfortunately has passed away, Elder Duarte, I remember, was so amazing watching him coach, because his team was so mature. I think he got up maybe 3 times in the entire game, and just gave like 10 to 15, 20-second instructions, and that's it. And he sat down and he was like a fan. And I remember being a young coach at the time,
he's guiding the process.
One day I want to get to a level where that's who I am as a coach, where I trust my team and I can just sit and watch as a fan. I don't know if I'll ever be, because I'm so passionate. I live the game, but like it was such an impactful moment for me as a coach, because I'm like, this is what next level coaching looks like.
It's important, because at the end, the game. This is my belief as a coach as well. Like I've been through a lot of changes as a coach as well for the last few years, and I start to believe now that the games are for the players to win it, not coaches. I think as a coach, if you work well in trainings, you do what you could in training sessions, you affect what you can affect in training sessions. When it comes to the game, trust the process of learning that happens in the game, and I think it's very difficult. And coaches, Jerson, even at the top level, they are struggling with that because of the stress of the job, the stress of a lot of things. That's why sometimes you see coaches jumping at those sidelines, and they look like they want to get inside the field and play the game. But I think really, and I'm very glad that you mentioned that, because that's an important characteristic for the coaches. Like sit down, change what you can change, guide what you can guide, and let the players. But that's a different level as well. It's very important to know.
I think you need to just be authentic. Yeah. I don't think there's a right or wrong way of how you act as a coach. I think you just need to know who you are, and you need to know how do your actions affect your team in a positive way. So like I said, I'm animated, not because it's about me. It's just I want to live the game. I want to feel the game. I'm passionate, but I need to be cognizant of how do my actions affect positively or negatively my team. And then I need to be aware. So like I said, I cannot sit down even if my team is playing really well. I love standing and just feeling the game.
You leave the moment,
like Klopp, and Pep. There's other coaches who sit down because they trust that they've done the work during the week, and I totally agree with you in terms of you gotta, during the week is where you can make the biggest impact. But I do believe also as a head coach you can make a big impact in the right way during game days on a lot of different elements, substitutions, substitutes.
Yes.
Who sub in? Especially for us, we have 6 substitutes. So knowing why we're going to substitute a player, when we substitute a player,
the management of subs.
How do we? What's our message at the beginning of the game? What's our message at halftime? The psychology. What body language doing it? I still think coaching is very, very important, and it's funny because I was listening to I forget the Argentinian coach and Luis Enrique a few weeks ago, and he was watching from up top for the first half, and you get a much better view of the game tactically up top than on the ground.
I heard the view, hey.
And so it gives you a lot of tactical understanding. If you look at, I was watching the Women's Rugby World Cup. I love sports, and the rugby coaches never coach on the sideline. They coach up top. So there's a lot of value there. But there's also then, the Scaloni was saying, that is fake sometimes too, because what you're seeing to then deliver to the players is a very different view of what the players are feeling. Absolutely. So there might be a disconnect there. And so then the energy being on the field, you cannot replace that, and being with the team. So so learning what you take. So I was fortunate enough to play to coach at the professional level with Carmelina Moscaro at Tigres a few years ago, and my role was being the tactical analyst. And so learning just how to, is it more impactful to be on the bench? Is it more impactful to be up top? And how do you involve that into getting the best out of your players has been a journey.
What happens to myself when I was at with the Huskies men's program, because if you remember the first year I used to watch the game from top,
right?
But it's just different feeling than the second year, and I talked with Bryce, and he actually accepted that. Then I was watching from the bench. And so going back to the Huskies kind of journey, 2016 we made nationals. We lost to Laval 5-0 in the quarterfinal, and it was a big lesson for me. An amazing lesson that I still go back to. And then we got to play Trinity Western in the consolation game. And at that point, we had lost to Trinity Western in the semifinal just a week before in Can West. And we beat them in penalties. And it's the first time ever that our program beat Trinity Western. And it was our first national win, and our first time ever that our program had beaten Trinity Western. So that was spectacular, and it was an amazing piece. And then we played Acadia, the host, and we ended up losing in penalties. So we finished 6th in the nation. Little Saskatchewan, who had never made nationals. So for us to finish 6th as a part-time head coach was such an amazing feat. So in 2017, our university decided to make the men's and women's programs full-time coaches. So I had to go through the application process as a head coach, like anyone else. And as I alluded to, full-time positions in Canada are hard to come by to work in sport. And this was 9 years ago, 2017, 8 years ago. So even more competitive. And I had to go through the whole process. And I think at the time there was the department said 38 candidates that applied for the position from nationally, internationally. And I had to go through the interview process. But I was so fortunate that I had a clear vision of where we wanted our program to be, and I was delivering on it, and we had 3 amazing years of success. So for whoever made that decision for hiring you, I have to tell him or tell her thank you very much, because that was the decision.
So I got hired obviously as the full-time head coach in 2017, and ever since then we've been building every year. And we're in 2015, we've had some amazing results. We've won 3 bronze medals. We've made every year playoffs, and we just clinched playoffs this weekend.
So you made the playoff at
every year that I've been here as a head coach. We've made playoffs for, I think this is the 12th or 13th year in a row. And
you confirmed the playoff.
We
yesterday.
Just clinched playoffs yesterday by winning.
That was a great weekend, by the way. 4 points from Calgary, not easy.
No, Calgary and Mount Royal are great programs. They're 1 and 2.
No, to go to Calgary to bring 4 points.
Yeah. And we're disappointed that we didn't get 6, but that's the standard we've set.
Yeah. So today's episode is brought to you by Pinter and Associate Limited, a Saskatchewan-based engineering and environmental consulting firm. Pinter deliver environmental site assessment and remediation, water and wastewater infrastructure design, land development, geotechnical services, from building foundation design the slope stability and waste management engineering. Learn more at painter.ca. When you think engineering, think Painter. What was the biggest challenge that you've faced in bringing that program to what it is right now? Well, like really, I'm sure you got various challenges, but what was the biggest challenge that you really had to is it at the league? Is it player recruits, or what's exactly the biggest challenge?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mo, and there's so many different constraints. I think the first to begin was bias. Okay, when I first started as a head coach, no one wanted to play for Saskatchewan. Not even local players wanted to stay and play in Saskatchewan.
Why?
Because they were always told that you need to go elsewhere to have success, that you're never going to make a national team if you live in Saskatchewan, you're never going to get the opportunities. And to be honest, they probably were right at the time, because you look at national teams, we tend to be forgotten. It's kind of like a black hole. Yeah. And so I accepted that, and I said, okay, we're going to work hard to be a destination where people want to come to play. And so what we had was what we had, and we just had to develop our talent at the time to start to change perceptions. Our province is amazing province, but it's not a football province compared to other provinces yet. Yeah. Football is big, hockey is big, basketball is big, lacrosse, soccer not so much. From success, it's not a cultural thing.
It's not the dominant sport. Yeah, we understand that.
Right. So perception was the first thing. We had to break down the perception that we were not a place to go and have success, and we've done that through hard work with our results, doing the work on the field to break down that perception. I think from there, we have to accept who we are and what our realities are. So the thing that I've been really clear and where futsal comes into the picture is when I got the position as a head coach to full time, I had a 10-year plan, and I said in 10 years, it's going to take us 10 years to have sustainable success. For me, it's not about having 1 year success or not, because that can come and go based on who you recruit. For me, it's about having sustainable success year after year, achieving success without relying on individuals. And the proof is in the pudding. We've made playoffs 13 years in a row. So it doesn't matter who comes in, who graduates. It's the program that's always at that level. And the way we've gone about it is understanding our realities and embracing our realities. And for us, our culture is our X factor. Culture is the most important thing. When I recruit a player, yes, I have recruit profiles of the type of player playing abilities that we want. Yeah. But the most important thing is our culture and our standards of who we want to recruit as a person, because we want to invest in people and we want them to stay with our program to have success. Sometimes with our programs...
Sorry to cut you there, Jerson. What do you put at the recruiting process? What do you put at the top of the hierarchy? Is it the playing style, the culture, or the individuals?
Look, your playing ability is what gets us interested in you, because we don't know who you are as a person. Absolutely. The thing we see first is how you play, and of course you need to be at a good standard to compete at this level, especially for where our program wants to be.
That's a starting point.
That's a starting point. But what sells me and what makes me want to actively recruit you is who you are as a person, and what are you going to bring to our program, and that's through many conversations. So we don't sign players just watching our showcase. That just gets us interested in you. Then we invite you to come in to our invitational camps, because that allows us to see you in our style of play. Because a player might be playing for a club and not stand out as much, but in our style, stand out a lot more. Or stand out with their club, but in our style, not be as good. So it's really important that I evaluate players under our principles of play, under how we want to play the game. Because there's so many amazing players, we don't just want to get amazing players. We want to find the right players for us. And once we see, okay, your ability, who are you as a person?
So you have the system, and then you have the machine, and then you find the right player that will fit in the system. You don't just bring the players and you start forcing systems on them. Or it
no,
goes
I
both
think
ways.
it goes both ways. The tricky part about university sport, Mo, is that it's never the same.
Never.
1 year,
Never.
you graduate 5 players, and you can bring 5 players. So in essence, I've coached at the pro level. It's actually harder to coach at the university level than the pro level because you don't have continuity.
I agree.
Every year, it's a new. So every year there's a new opportunity to be good, but there's a new opportunity to not be good. And so for us, it's about having a foundation of how we want to play, but having flexibility and adaptability to the skill sets of the players we have. So going back to how we've developed our program and the biggest challenges, I think the first one was breaking down perception internally in our province and externally to say, hey, we're actually a good program. Well, we want you to come to Saskatchewan. But we needed to build a reputation. So first we built that reputation working our butts off. And I was lucky too that I had players that had that winning mindset. Because remember I said the first team that won gold was 2012, I think U18. Oh. So Erica Heinmarsh and a lot of those players, they were pioneers in that winning. And so they were part of a program that I inherited. I didn't recruit them, inherited. And we were able to implement our vision and our style of play immediately. As they graduated, they gave us a starting point, a foundation to say we're a good football program. But football for me is not enough. It's got to be the right program culturally too.
Yes.
So we've built our culture, and that takes time. And we've curated and refined it to what it is now. And so over the years, 2017, 2018, 2019, I now started to recruit players to be part of our program. Like I started to see the personalities and who they were as players, but also who they were as people. And we've built that into what it's now. So now we're a program that is developing players, but has players from across Canada. We have players from Manitoba, from Alberta, from BC, from Saskatchewan. My first year, I had 95% of the players were from Saskatchewan. I didn't recruit them, I inherited them until we built. So the biggest challenge was...
What caused that change of that percentage? Is it our youth level? It's not matching the intensity of that league level, or how that works?
I think there's a lot of factors.
I work in the youth as well myself, so I want to know exactly the problems so we can fix the problem.
Totally. There's a lot of factors. So I think when I started, it was breaking down perception and getting even our local kids to want to play here, to not believe that they had to go elsewhere. That, for me, that's my biggest why. Well, we want to prove as a program that you don't need to leave where you live to have success. You can do it here. You just have to be intentional, you have to be strategic, and you have to work your butt off. Maybe harder than elsewhere, but you can be successful being from Saskatchewan.
No secret.
It's just you gotta do the work, and you have to be intentional every day. So our biggest constraints was perception. We broke that down, was then accepting our realities. So we, as soon as next week, hopefully not next week, but in a few weeks, there's going to be the right stuff on the ground.
Yeah.
In BC, teams don't have to deal with that. They can train and play 11v11 all year round. Yeah. When we hit November, December, we can't go outside. It's minus 50. Yeah. And this is where futsal has been a big part, because for me, futsal has given us the ability to develop players that are very instinctual, creative, dynamic, moving off the ball. And I could sit here and blame the weather, or I could say, you know what? I need to think outside the box and find a way to develop players. And so we implemented futsal 10 years ago as an opportunity to extend our season. Because at the time, there was one facility indoors. It was hard to, one, get time to train, and the cost, too, is another big constraint.
It's expensive,
So those were constraints. So I'm like, okay, well, what do we have access that might not cost us, that can still extend the season of our players, so that our players can now start to think high performance? Because 3 months is our competitive season, but our entire program is a year-round program.
Yeah, it's a weird schedule in here for the league. I mean, the league is good, but really very condensed and compact, and then you have a lot of time in the year where there is no competition, which is I think myself and you would talk a lot about that when we meet in person. Like, we are not playing enough games, we are not getting enough competition here. Absolutely.
And that would be the other constraint. We didn't have teams to play against. That like UBC, they can play Trinity, Fraser Valley, Victoria. They can go down a few hours, play Division 1 teams. They have competition that teaches them how to develop and learn and grow. Our closest competition was maybe Regina, but at the time maybe they weren't where we're as a program. And then Edmonton, Alberta, 6 hours. That's an investment. To go to Alberta with a team. It's $13,000 to $15,000. Where are we going to get the money? Because our department covers everything for the conference play. Anything that's non-conference, we have to self-fundraise. We have to find the funds. So
I think with the Regina program now, things are much better because the program, it's really they're
and
working very hard as well. And
we want them to be successful. We need them to be successful because the more successful they are, the better games we have.
I had Coach ASTRA. She was here as a guest at my podcast, and she talks a lot about the program, and I really admire and appreciate the effort ASTRA and her staff is doing in that program as well.
100%, and we work together. We have to work together, us and them, to develop the game, and we play each other in the winter because it helps them, it helps us opportunities. But for us, our program has been maybe a few years ahead in terms of the performances, so we've had to play boys, and so we've been fortunate to play your group a lot and the Lions boys, and so understanding our realities has been a big part. So I said breaking down perception through hard work and changing the performances. How we play the game has helped us recruit players because we're very unique in our approach. We're very possession oriented. We look for players that can think the game, and tactically we demand a lot. We teach a lot. And then embracing futsal and embracing playing U15 boys. That's our reality. And that's how we've slowly, year after year, been able to have success. That now it's changed the perception of our program. Like I said, currently we probably have about 60% of players out of province and 40% players in province. So you asked me what
my boys, by
how
the
do we
way,
change?
My boys, by the way, they love those games with your program because it's I think they got into a point to understand the games that they did provide them with some questions to answer. Tactical questions to answer.
and we love it too because playing boys challenge us with the speed, the physicality. Those are the teams like out west. They're very good. They're very athletic. To learn how to deal with the pressure, embrace pressure, not panic and possess the ball. And so going back to kind of your question, what's the difference in Saskatchewan? I think you know the answer. We don't play enough significant competitive games. When I recruit, I'm a big part of who I am as a coach, Mo, is data. Data drives, it informs a lot of my decisions. That gives me perspective and context. So when I talk to a player, like I said, we have our standards, we have our metrics, KPIs of what we look for playing-wise. I also ask them, how many games are you playing in a year? How many Tier 1 games are you playing in a year? And a lot of the kids that I recruit are playing between 40 to 50 games in a year. Out of that, they're probably playing 25 to 32 Tier 1 games.
Less numbers. And I was speaking to one of my previous players that signed at the university, and we had this conversation over last Christmas time, and he was mentioning that these young players now, do you want to break into a program, play in, and say, hey, you gotta be patient because you're playing in different provinces and are almost at least hundreds of games behind the players in that program, because growing up here in Saskatchewan, we don't have that fortunate to play many 11v11 games. So I think that's one of the things I taught the players. Say you have to be patient because you are way behind in terms of 11v11 games. In comparison to the players in that program.
100%. So I think that we don't play enough competitive games, and there's a lot of factors. I think sport infrastructure, unfortunately, in our province is behind other provinces. Like in Alberta, for the longest time, we were in Saskatchewan. We had 3, I believe, full 11 fields. There was one in Saskatoon, one in Regina, and one in Moose Jaw. And Alberta had 0 when I first started as a head coach at the time. Now, just in Calgary, we just actually played in a bubble, brand new soccer center bubble, beautiful facility. I think there's minimum 5 to 6, and each club is now owning their own 11. So think about the opportunity and accessibility for those kids to play. Accessibility in terms of the right amount of games, the cost too. So it's not just about our players not playing enough games. It's where do they play? How much does it cost?
How did you compare? As you mentioned, you're very driven by the data. and you recruit. How did you compromise to recruit players from Saskatchewan then? Because you don't have that much data.
Yeah.
Because there is a lack of games. So what do you do exactly?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think games is one element, but it's not the only element. And I tell players, like, if you're playing games or not, sometimes it's out of your control. And the caliber of the games that you play, it's out of your control. You don't control who you're going to play.
100%.
But you do control what you do on your own time. How much time are you spending into strength and conditioning? How much time are you spending into watching the game, like understanding the game, like the true game, like the top level Champions League, national women's national team, U20 national teams, like on TV now, day and age, there's no excuse to not watch soccer. It's on everything, on every platform, every channel. Are you taking care of your nutrition? Are you on top of your technical ability? Those are things that you don't need a coach to tell you what to do. You have to take ownership of that. Yeah. So
full control of that.
In spite of maybe not playing as many competitive games or as many opportunities, you still control a lot of your development. And we have those conversations with our players. You cannot, if you wait until a coach to tell you what to do, you're already behind. You got to take it upon yourself.
Okay, Jerson, I'm going to go straight to the question here because, like I said, I work at the youth, and it does concern me a lot. At the youth development, what we need to do from your perspective to develop players that go to the youth sport and compete and play at a good level at the youth sport. Like, what's the ABC concept we need to take at the youth development in the province in general?
Yeah, well, again, I don't have all the answers, and what I say might be right, might be wrong, I don't know. I think, again, I go back to, you need to understand who you are and your realities. So be authentic to, okay, what is our province all about, Saskatchewan? You look at the people in Saskatchewan, they're hardworking, humble, blue nose color. Like, it's tough to live here. Like, I still struggle in the winter. When it's minus 50 for 4 months, like,
very difficult.
Really difficult. But that hardens you too, and it makes you appreciate the good days in the summer.
Yes.
So I think understanding who you are and what our DNA is as a province is key. That's the starting point. Like I said, for me, understanding what we wanted to become as a program had to be with what are our realities. So if you're looking to be a player that plays at U Sport, what can you do different compared to a kid from Alberta or BC or from Manitoba or Quebec? What is going to separate you? Is it your mindset? Is it going to be your work ethic? Is it going to be your fitness? Okay, those are things that I think every kid can choose. No one can tell you what you want to be. You have that choice to make. What's going to separate me over others? So that's an intrinsic motivation piece that has to be there. And I think from a club perspective, it's how do we develop players that can compete, that can embrace competition is one. So more games is option. One way, but it's not the only way. Yeah. You can develop that in training. Are you bringing competitive environment to training? Like every time. And university, we have what we call a wildcard point. Every day, every session, one activity, it's called a wildcard activity. And they get points if that team wins that. So we're developing the competitiveness of our athletes without even playing 11-11 in training. And you can do it so many ways if you're strategic as a coach. The other thing is, again, we're indoors a lot. So for me, I'm a big futsal proponent. I would say, and I believe in futsal because I grew up playing futsal. I lived on an island where I didn't have good training until I would have to go to Cancun. I didn't start training until I was 16 but I played every day, 5-6 hours outside every day.
So does the futsal complete the development of the players? Is the futsal an option? Is the futsal one of the solutions? Like, what are you going to put the futsal in this?
I think it's an element. Like I said, I think at the young ages, it's a numbers game.
Because it's different in the game, by the way.
Yes, 100%. And I think you need to understand the game. You need to fully understand what futsal is to then be able to utilize it as a sport in itself, but also utilize it as a development. So for youth, for me, any kid from 4 up until I would say 14 should be playing futsal 80 to 90% of the time. Maybe 10% you start to sprinkle soccer, even in the summer, in terms of 77, 99, in terms of the development. But the reason why I believe so much in futsal is the touches, the amount of touches that you get. Tactically, futsal is such a tactical game once you actually understand it.
Tight space.
Once you coach
tight
it.
space tactic.
You see, even on the 11v11 now, Mo,
Yeah.
a lot of the tactics that are being implemented with build up phases, breaking down low blocks, come from futsal and handball. You look at, you listen to Pep Guardiola, some of his best strategies have come from
I'm a handball
sports.
player, by the way.
There you go.
I played handball when I
Yeah.
was young a lot.
And
Yeah.
so did I. And so there's a lot of cross-pollination. So for me, it's number one, okay, the amount of touches, the amount of opportunities that you can attack and defend.
Transitions.
So scoring, shooting. We don't score a lot of goals like that. You're shooting a lot more in futsal than you are in soccer. The impact of making a mistake has a bigger outcome. You get scored immediately, the psychology changes drastically. But also, the space. We talk about infrastructure. This is a societal thing. Every small community has a gym. Not every small community has an 11v11 facility. The number of teams, like players. If I'm a small community in Saskatchewan, only has 8 players, I can be very competitive. Why does Saskatchewan produce some of the best NHL hockey players?
Because hockey everywhere, I guess.
But there's hockey in
number one.
Alberta and Manitoba. You know why?
No.
Because there is the opportunity to play a lot of pond hockey, and every small community has enough to provide the opportunity.
To provide that, yeah.
So that's what futsal does. It completely creates, it takes away barriers that you don't control, and it levels the playing field for everyone.
Yeah, especially at like I think you mentioned those ages.
I would say, 14. And then even when I was playing pro, we would, one day a week, we would play. Because it brings out elements that you might not get enough by training, like 11v11.
A lot of behaviors.
Yeah.
Because that's what we are doing in ASTRA. Because have you been to our building?
I have, yeah.
if you've
Chris did
seen,
give me a tour.
The setup of the building in itself, it's almost like a futsal court there. And I think what we say to the families and also to the players, yes, we go and train in the bigger space twice a week for the older groups.
Yeah.
And also we go in summer, but then in the winters, all our training is just like about the behaviors. Those behaviors that you will take in a bigger space, combine them with the tactical ideas, the tactical concept, the space, and then those behaviors are really important for the players as well to develop.
100%.
The double movement, efficiency in tight space, the touches on the ball, the supporting angles in tight areas, tight space. That's something you definitely link and transfer to the bigger game, to 11v11 at some point.
Definitely. And you know, the biggest misconception sometimes, Mo, because a lot of people, again, I'm a big futsal believer, and I grew in it and did it, is, we've done that and we play 5v5. And it's not so much necessarily always the numbers like we're before. It's also the surface. When you play with a heavier ball, like a futsal, on a slick surface, the ball moves quick. The game speeds up. When you play 4v4 on turf and you play 4v4 on futsal, and if you had the opportunity to put them together, this futsal game would be a lot quicker than the 4v4 turf game because of the surface. These are things that people that haven't played it don't understand. But when you play it and you feel it, you're like, oh, this is why it changes. The speed of my decisions have to change. Not so much the interactions of 4v4, but also, again, like I said, the surface. So these are things that are so important. So with Huskies, we developed futsal as a big winter phase component when I first started. And this was 10 years ago. As I started it as a developmental tool to make our players more dynamic, to make our players more creative, and as joy. The joy, if you ask 100 players that play futsal and soccer, I would bet money, I would say more than 80% would prefer futsal over soccer.
Why?
Myself
Why?
included. Why? Because you can impact the game a lot more. You have more decisions to make on the ball and off the ball. Whereas this football, and this is the issue I have sometimes with youth development, we're playing 9v9 with 7-year-olds. Sometimes they go in, they sub in, they don't touch the ball, and they sub out. How are you developing a love for the game? Soccer. You're not doing soccer. You're running.
And different space.
You're doing track and field. So that for me, that's why. Like, I know now with kind of soccer, we'll start to implement age and stage appropriate games, and yeah, that's great. But it still doesn't develop what I think futsal can. So we implemented futsal as a development tool 10 years ago, just to make our players better. But my vision was, and my hope was, that one day there would be a national competition for futsal that we could participate in. That one day there would be a national team. That one day there would be a World Cup. But I did this 10 years ago, and we worked and we worked and worked. The first time it started on the men's in 2017.
Yes.
And I participated as a player. I was still fit enough to play, and we put a team together, Olympia.
Yeah.
And we went to nationals and we won. First province outside of Quebec and Ontario to go. And we beat Ontario to get to the final. It's a group of guys that just believed in the sport, that wanted to do it, with Tiago Prado, Jaime Mesa. And we got to the final. First time ever. And that was a ripple effect. After that year, there was 8 provinces. Because they see little Saskatchewan going to nationals and being able to compete. Why can we not do that? Alberta, BC, so now nationals has evolved, men's. And 3 years ago, in 2023, was the first time women's nationals was open from CSA. And out of the 3 national championships, Saskatchewan has medal in all 3. Matthew Hinachu and SK Impact won bronze. At the current time, I was in Mexico coaching with Tigres. Yeah. And then the following year, we put a green and white team. We won. And then this past year, SK Impact won. So 2 out of 3 years, a Saskatchewan team on the women's side has won it.
That's nice.
So it goes back to, remember what I said? Breaking down perception and believing that you can achieve success. Yeah. Once you prove that you can do it,
but also it
changes everything.
Yeah, you have to be strategic.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, it's I think, and the futsal, I think it's growing internationally right now. I think it's even. I left Morocco for a decade now, or over a decade. Yeah. To be honest with you, futsal was not such a thing, and now we are one of the biggest nations in the world.
100%. Yeah.
It's
But it's a cultural thing. I was fortunate enough. I played for Team Canada at FISHU at the University Games twice, at 2009, 2011. One of those we got to play Morocco. I was blown away. 2 teams that have blown me away as a player. Yeah. And I've played professional. I was part of the U17 Mexico pool of players. Yeah. Japan and Morocco. As a player, when I played Morocco. They were so unbelievable technically, and their movement and their decision, their creativity was off the charts. Yeah. And then we played the Japan U23 in 2011 because they were preparing to go to the London Olympics. And they were amazing. Their timing. You look at those 2 countries, they embrace futsal, not as a development tool, but unstructured play. Yes. They're just playing. So it's part of their DNA as a nation. Yeah. And so
and it's very isolated now in Morocco, the futsal. It's isolated from the football. It's like it's a project.
Sport in itself. 100%. And that's what it needs to be. Yeah. But it can also help the development of football players.
Absolutely.
But the key thing is it's a sport in itself, and you said it. And if you're not a good football player, futsal gives you another pathway, another avenue.
Opportunity.
And then maybe you're a good futsal player, and then you choose to become a football player.
I think all this passion and this love to the futsal, I think, lead you to recently have this wonderful trophy here, and this is amazing, really amazing trophy. I think is it the first ever futsal championship for Canada?
First ever for CONCACAF and the world.
How was this experience, Jerson? Tell us about it. Whatever you want to share, because this is. I followed the competition on and off online, but it's definitely a great achievement for you guys.
Yeah, it was amazing, Mo. From everything, the the project started in January. So at the end of January, Alex Rocha, the head coach, called me. I remember this. I was at the lake in winter with my family. Just the rare occasions that we get to spend time as a family. And he kind of called me and said, "Hey, look, here's what's happening. Canada is going to Canada Soccer is going to have a women's national program. There's going to be CONCACAF qualifiers for the first Women's World Cup. This is the first time FIFA has ever organized a World Cup for women for futsal. On the men's, there's been 4 or 5 iterations of the World Cup. This is going to be the first one." And so he's like, "I've followed the success that you've had with Green and White at nationals, and I've heard good things of what you're doing." And we knew each other because Alex also coaches at the university level at UQAM. And a lot of the coaching staff coach at the university level, so we kind of know each other.
So you have a football background, all the stuff.
Football and futsal background. And so he asked me if I would want to be part of the staff, and I said immediately, of course. Like, it's a dream come true for me, because everything that we did 10 years ago was to get to this point.
Yes.
But there was a lot of different things that still needed to happen. And so,
was there a league exist before you combined that national team? Or
no leagues, no. Like, nationals was just, like I said, 2-3 years ago, and each province has been slowly developing their own leagues and their own things. And I would say Quebec has probably been the pioneer when it comes to futsal in Canada. And from a league, they do it in schools. So here's the difference, Mo. They don't play. There's no high school soccer in Quebec. Everything is futsal, high school futsal. It's super, super, super competitive and high level. So here in Saskatchewan, we have high school soccer. Your boys are playing high school soccer, high school girls. Quebec, they don't have that. They call it sport études. It's futsal, high school futsal. There's no high school soccer at all. But it's so, so, so competitive, right from grade 6
they are good at
to
the
grade 12.
They are good at the two, eh?
So connect the dots. Why do you think? Why do you think? Because the investment starts from a futsal, and then they progress to soccer. If you look at all the Quebec teams, and you told me, Mo, Quebec for me is one of the teams that are, for me, always some of the more technical and some of the more tactically adaptable teams when I go to watch nationals.
I like
and
watching.
It's a cultural thing.
I like watching them.
It's a cultural thing.
Same for when I was at D15 boys for nationals last 2 years. I always loved watching their teams.
So again, connect the dots. And so they don't play high school soccer, they play high school futsal. So anyhow, we did ID camps in Saskatchewan. My job was to kind of take charge of the West. So BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, identify players through ID camps. In Alberta, they have ACAC, they play a futsal season, a competitive season. So I scouted that. We reached out to university coaches, and we had a camp. Here in Saskatchewan, we selected the four players that we felt had the ability to go to the national camp. And from the national camp, this was during February, March, we had a national camp with players from Quebec, Ontario, the Maritimes, and from the West. And I believe we had about close to 32 players. And from there, we selected 14 to go to CONCACAF. So this was the first time ever that a national team was created. First time ever that we were going to compete at Team Canada at CONCACAF.
And there are 3 players from Saskatchewan, right?
So we had 4 players go to the camp. 3 got selected to be on the national team. So Jaden Steinhauer, a goalkeeper, Jade Humfa, she was a winger, Fixo winger, and Erica Heimarsh. So we went to Guatemala about a week before the competition, 5 days before. We had 2 days in Montreal and then a week before in Guatemala. And we played a club team, the champions, a club champions team of Guatemala. That was our first international game ever as a team. In Quebec, when we had camps, we'd play a lot of boys, U15, U16 boys. They challenged us a lot, but it was amazing. It was perfect for what we needed. And so we went to Guatemala and we played the club team, not knowing how we're going to do. Like, it was complete blind.
Did you believe you'll win it? I mean,
not
because Mexico is there, of course.
Not Mexico, Costa Rica, US. Mexico is good, but the best teams in CONCACAF when it comes to futsal is Costa Rica. They invest so much. They have a professional league, and they're amazing at what they do. They have their own the federation facility is like amazing.
And I think both for male and females.
Yes, the staff from the male are the staff on the women. So futsal in Costa Rica is the standard. So we had no clue. So we played the game against the club team, and we won 5-0. And that kind of like started to be like, okay, you know what? We're not that bad. we still don't think we're going to win this. That's the reality, but we're not that bad. Let's see. And we had Costa Rica, US, and Honduras in our group. So our first game was against Costa Rica, who have been preparing for this event for 2 years. Camps, playing international games. They played the US, like just an amazing. And we ended up playing really, really well, and we lose 3-2. But that for us was a moral victory.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, okay, this is the best team.
Big step.
3-2.
Yeah.
But we still had to. You don't want to start your tournament losing. It's tough. Tournament football is difficult. If you lose your first game, your second game is everything.
That set the tones for everything. Yeah.
We played the US. The US had probably twice the amount of staff as us. The budget was, I can't even imagine the budget they have compared to us. And we beat them 3-1. And one of our players is Erica Heinmarsh. And my role on the national team is I'm the set piece lead. So I do a lot. And in futsal, set pieces are extremely important.
Yes.
There's always kick-ins, kick-ins, corner kicks.
Part of the game,
massive part of the game.
Yeah.
And so we score on a corner kick. On a transition, we defend the corner kick, we attack in transition.
Yeah, I remember
and Erica
that goal.
scores top corner, and we win 3-1. And just beating the States was, I mean, Canada and the States have a massive rivalry.
That's a rival.
Was an amazing feeling, and we eliminated the States, beating them. Because we had beaten Honduras in game 2, 6-0, and that was our first win, which was huge. And then we beat the US 3-1 to qualify as the second in our group. Yeah. And all of a sudden now we had to play Mexico in the semifinal. And knowing that if we win that game, you go to the World Cup, which was like even getting out of the group for us was already success.
Yes. But going to the World Cup is another motivation again.
Crazy. So we start that game. Mexico's so technical, so good. And halftime, and we're losing 3-0. And 2 of the 3 goals were on set pieces. It's my job. Like I was devastated. I was like, oh my God. And we needed something different. And so Nick, one of the assistant coaches that did all the substitutions, because there's a lot of substitutions and he manages the bench. Yeah. Me and him had spoken, and we felt that using Jade, she was playing as a defender, would be good to play her higher up the field as a winger. And I think what's so amazing about the staff and the players was everyone was so humble and open to listening, to discussing.
Do you guys put strong team and then other team, or both teams are balanced?
I think that was our biggest X factor was our depth and our trust in everyone, coaches and players. Like if I had an idea, Alex and Coach Kit would be like, okay, let's go with it, but tell us why. And okay, yes, it makes sense, let's do it. So we moved Jade as a winger, and on the first minute she intercepted a pass, and left-footed scored, and that changed the momentum. So in futsal, momentum is everything. So we're losing 3-0, we score 3-1, score 3-2, score 3-3, 4-3 in 4 minutes. Crazy. We're 4-3 all the way, and there was 1.8 seconds left, and a set piece, they play a lob ball, back post volley. 1.8 seconds left, they tie the game. Talk about high stakes to go to World Cup.
Those 20-minute halves in the futsal are
20-minute halves that
so long.
With stop time. 1.8 seconds, Mexico scores to tie it, to go to overtime. Here's the other thing that many people don't know, Mo. In futsal, there's cumulative fouls. Because you don't want to. And when you get to a 6th foul, it's an extended penalty. When you go to overtime, so the fouls reset at halftime. First half, second half. But when you go from second overtime, they don't reset.
They carry on.
We had 5 fouls.
Oh.
And we had to play 10 minutes.
Yeah, walking on eggshells.
You had to play 10 minutes against a team that's very good individually, dribbling, creative. We had to defend without diving in. Because people didn't know this.
Because we have one foul left.
One foul left. And every foul after that is a penalty too. That's like a basketball bonus. So we just managed. And all I wanted, I was praying, let's get the penalties. Because we had Jaden Stein, who had coached at the university level. And if you remember in 2019, we played against Calgary, who were the number 2 or 3 team in the nation. We were Huskies, quarterfinals here at night. It was a Friday night. We had 1,000 fans, crazy, unheard of. Just the amount of fans that came watch, and we beat them in penalties. And Jaden made 3 saves. I knew Jaden was amazing. This is why she was on the national team. And so our plan was, if we got to penalties, because Jaden wasn't our starter, she was our backup, she was going to go in net to take to be the keeper for the penalties.
Yeah.
So all I was praying was let's just get the penalties. I knew if we got the penalties, we were gonna win. And long story short, Jade takes a penalty, scores, and Jaden saves 2 penalties, and she saves the penalty and the fifth penalty. She's like holds on to a ball. A penalty from futsal is 6 meters.
Yeah,
it's
close,
hard.
very close.
It's all about reaction. She holds on to the ball against the player that scored with 1.8 seconds left to tie the game. And then we go and we shoot and we score. And Canada goes to World Cup.
The World Cup.
We were 7th ranked out of 9 teams, and we go to World Cup. And yet we had a game to play against Panama, who upset Costa Rica to go to World Cup too. So we knew the game against Panama was really big because it affects your seeding for World Cup. Mm-hmm. Plus, it gives you FIFA points for next year and a lot of different things. And but we played free and we won. We won 8-2. And that's still been our hardest game.
That was the easy game.
Was our easiest game because of the depth, because of like the team just got better and better and better.
And you have nothing to lose when you get to that stage.
And how connected the team was. So then this, like, going through the ceremony to get this is such a surreal thing. Like, I still cannot describe what this means, because this for me is amazing for our country, but for me this was an investment of 10 years.
Absolutely, yeah.
And a vision that at the time wasn't even possible. So when I say nothing is impossible, this is my reminder.
So the result of strategic work, effort,
and believing in the right
and the belief
process
as well. And the buy-in. You need the buy-in from the people around you as well.
Surrounding yourself with the right people and just putting your head down and working strategically, like you said.
And now is the World Cup. So Colombia, first game. Second game, Spain or Thailand?
Second game, Thailand. And we finish against Spain. So, look, the reality is going into CONCACAF, we had no expectations. To World Cup, we have no expectations.
Hopefully, you won't face Morocco at some of the stages there. Then you will put me in a bit, because I'm a proud Moroccan, proud Canadian. I have to stay neutral in that game.
But you know what? Maybe we might play them in a friendly before. Who knows? Because they're not in our group. So
absolutely.
Maybe.
No, that's Jerson, thanks for sharing this experience with us, because it's important for you at the individual level, but like you mentioned, it's important for you, but also important for the country in general. That's really amazing. And Jerson, what's the rest of the season for the Huskies? Like, what's the plans? What's the expectations? If you can just elaborate a bit on what's now. You clinched the playoff last night in Calgary. Yeah,
we clinched playoffs yesterday in Calgary, and the team has been building. We're on the rise. Brick by brick is our theme. It's one game at a time, one step at a time, one process at a time. We have a bye this weekend, Thanksgiving, so we have a bit of time to rest, recuperate, get re-energized, because it's hard playing back-to-back games and the amount of games in such a short window. This is why culture and depth are so important, but we feel that the team is just getting better and better and better. And we've had an amazing year. We had a great preseason, and even the games we lost, we felt, minus our opening weekend, we weren't ourselves. We lost games against Edmonton and McEwen where we felt we were the better team and should have won, but we didn't. And now we're clicking at the right time. So we have 2 games left against Regina. Amazing games. I really hope so many people come out, watch. We play next Friday in Regina.
At Griffiths? In Regina.
And then Saturday here at 7 p.m. at Griffiths. Come and watch. It's amazing games. They're always great games. Like, Regina always gives us a tough game. They're really well coached. They're a great program. And like I said, ASTRA and their coaches are doing a great job down there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if we can win both games, there's still a possibility that we finish second and host. So
I talked with Astrid when she was here at the podcast about the derby of Saskatchewan, and she was very emotional talking about the derby and what it means for the program, and it's that's wonderful. You need to leave. That's what the football, that's what sport in general made for a moment like that.
100%. I love, like, our games against Regina are special, so special. Like, all of our players know their players. I mean, it's changing a little bit because a lot of our program has we've recruited a lot of players out of province because of some of the constraints I said, but we want to continue to recruit local kids that fit our style.
Absolutely.
But they're fun games. They're always at night. They're night games. So that's
and
special.
it doesn't matter when it comes to that game. I don't think it matters that much who's top on the table, who's below the other, who's above the other. Doesn't
Never.
matter.
It does. It's always, we know it's going to be a tough game no matter what. It doesn't matter who's, like you said, who's first or last. It's always going to be a tough game. They play with passion and pride, and they're a great program in what they do, and we're a different style, and they're going to be big games. Unfortunately they haven't made playoffs. We have, and I'm sure they're not going to want us to finish top, and and as it should be. That's what
absolutely.
We're competitors, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah. On the field,
but we respect each other off the field, and
absolutely.
I think I respect a lot of what ASTRA does with her program, what she's done, and I think the respect is mutual, and that's what makes you need each other.
Yeah.
Like you always need someone to push you to develop and get better, so that then you want to get better, and that competition is what drives the success for a province.
Oh, you need someone like that definitely to help you improve as well, because if you are by yourself improve, that's important. I know that you may not be able to or willing to share a lot of this information, but as a playing what's the indicators that drive your playing style as a coach? I know you can only share what you want, because I know you have important games, you have playoff coming up. We cannot give too much for your opposing teams, but what the indicators that drive your playing style, Jerson, as a coach?
Look, Mo, there's no secrets with me, and I always tell coaches, like, if there's any coach that listens to this podcast that wants to come and be curious and learn and see what we do behind the scenes, the opportunities are always there. My doors are always open to talk about football, to come and see a full week of training, to see training, how we talk to play. Like, there's no secrets with me. It's an investment, because I want to do my part to help coaches get better. And if you have the right reasons and you reach out and you tell me, Coach, I would love to come in and be part of your staff, and this is how I can contribute or learn, reach out. Like, I don't keep the cards to my, like, I want this province to continue to get better. So that's
very nice of you.
It's very open, and we do it at any time for anyone. We're a program that wants to have the ball. We want to dictate the game by having the ball, possessing the ball in the right spaces. So we talk about zones 3 and 4. We don't want to possess in our half. For me, it doesn't, other than the build-up, it's got to be always to progress to score. But we're very proactive when we don't have the ball. We're very high pressing and aggressive at the right moments. You can't press for 90 minutes. So you got to be strategic when you do it. I love teams that play on the front foot, that impose themselves, that want the ball. I was an attacking player. I hated defending. I want to defend with the ball. If I have the ball, you can't score. That's how we like to defend. And always do that. So then we have to also press, and we have to want to get the ball back and be strategic. But I want players that are confident to make decisions.
That's why I gave you the ball last games I played against you. I told the boys, okay, just give them the ball. When we get it, let's take them 20, 30 yards ahead, back again to their field. Because I know that's why you don't want.
Totally, exactly. I want to play in the opponent's half, but I want players that are comfortable making decisions and making mistakes. To be good, you have to want the ball. You have to want to make mistakes. Like, you're not going to be perfect. Soccer is a game of imperfections. The teams that win are the ones that accept that and don't shy away from making decisions. The teams that play with fear never end up winning. The teams that accept that you're going to make a mistake, but you're going to be able to defend properly, or you're going to eventually make it good, are the ones that win. So I want players that have character, that if I made 3 mistakes, I'm going to learn from them. I'm not going to make the same mistake all the time, but I'm still at the ball, and I'm still going to make a next decision and a next decision.
I think you just shared something important for the players that wanted to play for that program from the province here. This is the indicators right now. This is what the program is about. This is the playing style. So, like, I think that's something now you just show exactly what you want to recruit about your players. 100%. Of course, beside that, you mentioned earlier that the person is important as well for you, but now we'll find the right person. This is the expectation as a player from you.
And I would tell all the kids that aspire to play for the Huskies or the Cougars, come out and watch. Like, you have to watch the level that you are aspiring to play. because then you need to know what's the physicality look like, what does the fitness level look like, the speed of play, the decision. So if you're not watching where you want to be, how can you expect them to make it? You cannot.
Absolutely.
So do you have to invest time? Like I go back to competition is one element, but what are you doing beyond competing? How are you taking ownership of your development? Are you waiting till Coach Mo to tell you what to work on? Are you learning by watching the game to say, oh, the Huskies center back can play a 45-yard ball 9 out of 10 times consistently. I can't. What am I going to do about it? On your own time, not waiting for a club to develop you, because it never happens that way. You have to take ownership of your development, and the hard part, I will say this, is okay, what happens in the winter? Because you have to pay to go into facilities. I agree. This is where we need more infrastructure investment from the government. I went to Iceland for my honeymoon a few years ago, and what shocked me, Iceland is the size of Saskatoon.
Yeah, it's small.
300,000.
Yeah.
They've made the World Cup.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's like Saskatoon putting the best players together to make the World Cup. Crazy. But what's so cool to see is accessibility to sport infrastructure. They have turf fields everywhere, 11, and it's free for the kids to go and play on their own. So of course they've made the World Cup because it's a cultural thing. Yeah. So in the winter, that's the one thing that I agree is tough. But in the summer, from May, June, July, August, September, October, there's so many beautiful grass fields in Saskatoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many opportunities to develop yourself. For me, there's no excuse to not be good. Because it comes down to how bad do you actually want it. Because it's very competitive. Like, I get hundreds of emails of players wanting to play at our level. Yeah. So I look for what's going to separate you. Why would I want to bring you into my program?
And are you doing enough to go and see all the players in the province, Jerson, as well?
So exposure is a big part. I think that's where clubs can really help their players. The exposure. We watch a lot of football, a lot of soccer. We watch PSL. I watch local leagues. We invite players. I'm always watching players, and I watched them for several years. Like I watched them from U13. I'm not going to recruit a U13, but I'm going to track them to watch their behaviors. Are they developing? Are they improving? I could tell you right now, we have a list of grade 9s already that we track.
Amazing.
Like,
that's good.
But it's work. No, but we do it. No. So that when we decide to recruit someone, we've already seen them a lot of times. We've already interacted with them.
Created enough information
opportunities
and
exactly
data about them. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So, but the one thing clubs can do better, you asked me, is exposure. So educating the kids on how to reach out to coaches, drafting emails, creating highlight videos, okay? Because I can't go and watch kids in Regina, but they can still send me emails. Here an update, coach, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
Videos,
that's what I would say. Kids in other provinces have had the luxury, they're ahead. They have had clubs, bigger clubs, that educate them on these things. And so they're always emailing me, they're always keeping me up to date, sending me highlights. And I would say the last year it's gotten better, but previous to that, very few local kids did that. They just expect me to know who they are.
Yeah, I think the culture is changing too as well, which is good. Something very, very positive. Jerson, I think we're pushing you for the time. That camera is yours. If you want to send one message to the youth development in Saskatchewan, players, families, anybody involved in the youth development.
It's tough. I think I'll keep it simple. I think there's 2 or 3 messages. Number one is take initiative and ownership of your development. Don't wait for a coach. Don't make excuses. Don't wait. There's always going to be excuse if we look for excuses, but there's always a solution if we look for solutions too. So be solution oriented. Tell the solution, not the problem, is a big one that we talk a lot with our program. Okay, believe in yourself long enough. Sometimes we're so close to having success and we quit because we don't believe long enough in our ability. But the belief has to come from the work that you do behind the scenes. If you believe without doing the work, then that's fake. That's insanity. But if you believe and you do the work, it's just a matter of time. The catch is, do you believe long enough? Because it might take 10 years. This took 10 years. Well,
yes.
But we never sacrificed our vision. Okay? And then the last one, you have to fall in love with the process. You cannot fall in love with the outcome. The outcome is a byproduct of the process.
Yes.
So if in summary, okay, take ownership and initiative. Okay? Be solution oriented. Okay? And fall in love with the process.
Process oriented, absolutely. Good. Last one here, Jerson. And so I should have grabbed my popcorn right now and listened to this one. For the coaches in the province, all the coaches involved in the game. Because we have one intention, to grow the game, to raise the level of the game, both at the level of the youths and also adults. What's your biggest message to the coaches?
Well, that's a tough question again. Great question.
As I mentioned in the beginning, I was not throwing a flower on you, and you know me, I don't throw flowers. I say you are a good resource for all the coaches, like I say, to learn from your knowledge.
I appreciate the words and I appreciate the opportunity. I think be curious, like keep learning the game. Like it's easy to feel removed from the game living in Saskatchewan. We don't have a professional club.
Yes.
But now, day and age, there's so many avenues and so many ways to continue to be curious and learn. So be curious, and it starts locally. Like come and watch the university programs. Reach out. Like I said, I'm totally. If you want to come and watch what we do and learn what we do, if you do it for the right reasons, come. I'm more than happy to any coach
to share,
and even for your coaches at ASTRA and all those, pass on the message. So be curious. 2, collaborate with each other for the right reasons. Like we all have the way we see the game. We all have our own unique constraints, and that is totally fair. The only way we get better is by elevating each other, pushing standards. So I would say that big one is we can still do a better job of collaborating for the right reasons. Especially in Saskatchewan, because we're a small province. We need to find ways to like raise the standard together. And then the third one for me, I'm a big one. You got to be passionate about what you do. 100%. The moment there's no passion,
100%,
it's okay to step aside. But like, be passionate and open opportunities for others. Like know when your time is done and let others then take a chance. You know, sometimes. We stagnate because we don't provide opportunities.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to add one last one for you there. It's message for all of us as coaches. Improve yourself. Evolve. We need to evolve as coaches. We need to get better at what we are doing. That's how we're going to influence the game even better and better. Jerson, it was an honor having you here. Thank you very much. We talk a lot about football because I know you can talk for days about the game. And the fact that I learned some personal information about you today that we never talk about when we meet in person. This is the first time I knew that you are Mexican Canadian.
Really?
By the way.
There you go.
Today, so because whenever we met, we're just talking football.
Yeah. Well, and we never have enough time to talk football. So you're
absolutely,
right.
Yeah. No, that's great to have you here, Jerson. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best at your personal life and also at your professional life with the Huskies or whatever your path will take you in the future. Good luck for the Huskies season. And also good luck with the Canadian national teams at the World Cup. We will be watching you. We will be cheering for you for sure. And we wish you all the best of success. This was the end of the 8th episode of Beyond the Pitch podcast. As I mentioned at the beginning, today we have Jerson Barandika Hamilton, the Huskies women's program head coach, and also Jerson is the assistant coach of the Canadian women national team's futsal. Thank you very much for listening. Ciao.